Here we go. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. Chase Senior here with you. And as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making our post-game reaction show a part of your evening. And let's just start here. What a win for the Philadelphia Eagles, taking down the Giants and crushing them by a final score of 38-20. Since the Eagles brought back the Kelly Green uniforms, they are perfect. They have not lost. Look good, feel good. You know that's the motto. And the Eagles look great in this game today. What a time for the Birds to put together their best overall game of the year. And now they beat Minnesota last week. They found something on offense that translated to today's performance, in which Jalen Hurts was fantastic. The run game, led by Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby, was dominant. A lot of different players getting involved in the pass game. The Eagles' pass rush came to play. Jalen Hurts has really started to turn it on over the last couple of weeks. The Eagles' secondary, stellar in this game as well. And so you beat the Vikings, you pummel the Giants, and you're really feeling good about yourselves. Going into the bye week, you're able to rest up, get healthy, get some players back, as a lot of reinforcements are coming for the Birds on the other side of the bye, and they come out of it, and they go to Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers in Week 10 in what is going to be a huge game with a lot of NFC implications. And it made this victory even sweeter, knowing it came against the Giants. The Eagles put together a full 60-minute ball game. They were dominant really from start to finish. But when the Giants beat the Eagles a couple of Thursdays ago in Week 6, Thursday Night Football, when the Eagles were smacked, they were embarrassed. They played soft. The Giants acted as though that was their Super Bowl. And I understand where they're coming from. They haven't won a playoff game in a really long time. They've been pretty much irrelevant since Eli Manning. But they really celebrated that win over the Eagles. And I know when you win a Super Bowl, you are going to be the hunted and not the hunter. But the way that Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo were celebrating after that win, the Eagles took note of that. And Saquon Barkley talked about that after the game, that how the Giants celebrated that win definitely motivated the Eagles. And when the Eagles went back to watch the tape of that game, they had to be motivated because they played as bad of a game as they could have played, coaching-wise, execution-wise, and they were so soft in that game against the Giants. So to make up for that and to respond to that gutless loss against the Giants, to do this, 427 yards of total offense. Jalen Hurts was superb. He now has 7 passing touchdowns in his last 2 games to run it right down their throats for 276 yards. It made this victory even sweeter for the Birds. And they started it right from the jump. Saquon Barkley, 65-yard touchdown on the second play of the game. And I was telling Chip that was very reminiscent of what happened in the NFC Championship game, when he took it to the crib against Washington for 60 yards immediately, then sent a statement. Immediately today, sent a statement against his former team. That got the crowd into it. It got the crowd juiced up, and it got the Eagles on the right track immediately. Now, Saquon Barkley did get injured in this game, but he said he doesn't believe the groin injury is going to hold him out of that Week 10 game against Green Bay. And last week, it was the passing game, led by Jalen Hurts, who balled out, cooked the Vikings, who carried the Eagles offense to that victory. Today, they were surgical in the pass game as Hurts was 15-20 for a $179, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and a rating of 141.5. But today, for the first time all year, it was the ground game that also got going. And let's focus in on Jalen Hurts here. He was so precise, so accurate, so clean with the ball, and so efficient. And this is for all the naysayers out there who don't think Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback. The guy's elite. And he's really helped to put the team on his back the last couple of weeks. And everybody tried to tell me Jalen Hurts is carried. Well, without A.J. Brown, without Cam Jurgens, he's able to spread the ball around. DeVonta Smith, another big day. Jahan Dotson, Dallas Godert, Saquon Barkley, Xavier Gipson, all getting involved. And he was unstoppable in this game. Did get sacked 4 times for 28 yards, but Eagles offensive line banged up. That Giants defensive line, one of the best in football. But he was awesome in this game. And so too was this Eagles ground attack. I mean, as a team, 33 carries, for 276 yards, 8.4 yards per pop, and the 65-yard touchdown for Saquon Barkley. Saquon also had a receiving touchdown too. So you just think about the offensive balance that the Eagles can potentially find if they're able to play like they have the last 2 weeks. This is the team that we've been waiting to see. This is the team that we know they're capable of being, and that's being an elite team and one of the best teams in the National Football League. They got after Jackson Dart today. They completely harassed him. They sacked him 5 times, and he was under duress from start to finish. The Eagles also able to tally 6 quarterback hits, and they had 15 to 20 plus pressures. They had 7 TFLs. Howie Roseman has to be really happy with how his team played today and last week. People were ripping him, including me, for not bringing back Isaiah Rodgers. A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith cooked him last week. People were ripping Howie Roseman for the Tank Bigsby trade. They gave up 2 picks for him. Why? Couldn't return a kick. Couldn't field a kick. Didn't look good returning kicks in general. Tank Bigsby has something. Tank Bigsby brings some boom to the Eagles' backfield on top of the flash that Saquon Barkley presents. The yards after contact, the tackle breaking ability, the ability to get out to the outside, his running form. You know who it reminds me of? Jay Ajayi. He kind of swings his legs a little bit like Jay Ajayi, and Jay Ajayi ran really hard too. 9 carries for 104 yards, 11.6 yards per carry. That 17-yard run that he had late in the game looked like he would be bottled up after picking up a couple of yards. And then by being swarmed by Giants players and surrounded by Eagles players, he just gets out of it and picks up 17 yards. Maybe the Eagles found something there with Tank Bigsby as well. And then back to the Howie point, the pass rush as well. You know, I've been saying, and I still think the Eagles need to do this, trade for a pass rusher. Trade for a pass rusher. It helps out that back end. Jalen Hunt has really started to find a groove the last couple of weeks. Coming out of the bye, the Eagles will get Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham. If the Eagles don't make a trade, you look ahead to the future, they'll be able to maintain that draft capital, and obviously that would give Howie Roseman some more flexibility and some more ammo. Now, again, I still think it's important to trade for a pass rusher because I do think that could be a true difference maker. And if you get Nolan Smith, Brandon Graham, and you trade for an edge, then this defense really becomes dangerous. But you also see with the offense finding a rhythm, finding a groove, and finding something, the defense is as well. Vic Fangio's coaching his ass off right now, and I loved some of the play designs that we saw from Kevin Patullo and the play calls that we saw in certain moments. The Eagles were doing a bunch of different things as far as their play calling and their scheme. And there was a lot of creativity. There was a lot of window dressing. There was a lot of little nuances with the play designs and the play calls that we saw from Kevin Patullo. More Jalen Hurts under center. They found success with that against Minnesota. We saw more of that. The fake handoff when Hurts rolled to the right and found Godert. We saw under center passes and runs. We saw gap scheme runs. We saw some play action throws over the middle. We saw a halfback screen. Kevin Patullo was kind of in his bag. And that's why I've said all year, give the guy some time. Give the Eagles some time. Because we have seen under Nick Sirianni, the Eagles do not peak early. They try to peak late. Sometimes it takes them some time to find an identity, to find who they want to be. And now we're seeing that the Eagles are starting to find that right now on both sides of the ball. More to get to here for our post-game reaction show, but first, this Eagles hoodie is on sale. It is $22 off. It was $75, now on sale for $53. It's starting to get cooler. Shoot, I'm wearing this windbreaker right now because I'm freezing my tail off in the studio. Fly Eagles Fly hoodies available now. Chatsports.com/PHI hoodie. That's chatsports.com/PHI hoodie. Get your hoodies today. $22 off. We'll put that link down below in the show notes, and it's attached to the pinned comment. That link is for today's Eagles post-game reaction show. So, a couple of other things, too, in this game. We've been waiting for Landon Dickerson to play a little bit better. Well, on the Saquon Barkley touchdown, he had a great block. Looks like he's starting to get a little bit healthier. That's obviously a good sign. Another thing, too, is that a lot of people are going to make this game about the officiating. And it definitely was one of the worst officiated games that we have seen so far this year. And Giants fans are going to cry about how they didn't get the whistle, how the NFL is rigged, how the officials are in the back pockets of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hold on. Obviously, Giants fans overreact a lot. Obviously, they're an emotional bunch. All of us in the Northeast are. But on the Cam Scatterboo touchdown catch, Nakobe Dean got tackled. All right? And so that should have been a penalty right there. There were some other plays where I thought there were no calls that benefited the Giants. The Jackson Dart strip sack. They called it a fumble on the field. I mean, if you want to make the argument that his arm is moving forward, that's a tough argument to make. I thought that was a strip sack and a fumble for Jackson Dart. Instead, they call it a completion, or they call it a forward throw and not a fumble. Otherwise, the Eagles would have recovered as they got after Jackson Dart all day. The OPI called on Darius Slayton on Quinyon Mitchell. When you slow it down and look at the replay, obviously both players got a little bit grabby toward the end of the play. I want everybody to do themselves a favor, though. Go back and watch that play in real time. You will see how Slayton kind of bumped Quinyon to separate right before he caught that football. Now, I think that probably should have been a no call, but it really could have gone either way. And at that point, the game was over. Giants aren't coming back. At that point, they would have made it a little bit more interesting with about, 8 or 9 minutes to go. But I don't think that call was game-changing or life-altering. And so I thought the officiating was bad on both sides. Jalen Hurts definitely fumbled on the tush-push. That ball got ripped out. And we've seen a couple of times this year on the tush-push, they are very quick to blow the whistle to stop forward progress. Hurts didn't initially get the first down. Then he got it, had the reach. That ball got taken out right after the reach. I thought that should have been a fumble. But I was also seeing some Giants fans saying when Cam Scatterboo got hurt, and prayers to him, strength and healing, good vibes to Cam Scatterboo, special player and a dog, that he got hip drop tackled. I mean, if anything, Jackson Dart threw a bad ball, and it caused Cam Scatterboo to kind of have to go back and get it. And so his body momentum was a little bit awkward on that play. And it wasn't even a tackle. It was just a takedown and an attempt to break that pass up. So Giants fans are going to call Eagles fans scum of the earth. They're going to say they're the worst people possible, but they're not going to mention how 70,000 people up on their feet when Cam Scatterboo had the air cast on and he got carted off the field. Nobody's going to mention that. Nobody in the mainstream media is going to mention that. We're not all bad people, right? There are some bad eggs, but there are some bad eggs among Giants fans as well. There was a tweet that I saw a couple of weeks ago from a Giants fan saying, I hope Saquon Barkley tears both his ACLs and Jalen Hurts breaks his neck. We're going to talk about that. You're going to act like you're all goody two-shoes as well? Come on. It's New York. We know how you roll. Obviously, there's a lot of intensity as these two cities are separated by an hour and a half with no traffic between I-95. And Philadelphia's always been the little brother to New York. But Northeastern sports fans are a little bit more intense than any other place in the country. Boston, New York, Philly, we're just built a little bit different. So there's going to be a lot of intensity. With that intensity, there's going to be a lot of emotions, and a lot of fans are going to act out and be clowns and be idiots. And I don't stand for that. I don't support them. But let's call a spade, right? Giants fans, they're not the nicest people in the world either, right? And if Saquon Barkley got hurt like Cam Scatterboo got hurt, and Giants fans were applauding him after they've sent him death wishes and they've wished upon an injury for him, and they got on their feet and gave him a round of applause, I would give him a shout out for that. So heading into the bye, Eagles right now in a really good spot. 6-2, wide open NFC, wide open landscape across the National Football League. The Eagles played their best game of the season. They got to be feeling really good about themselves going into the bye and coming out of it. Green Bay Packers. huge game. And this back-to-back stretch for the Eagles with back-to-back wins, ending that 2-game skid. Eagles got to be feeling themselves a little bit. Now, they can't take their foot off the gas, and they got to maintain focus going into the bye week and out of it. But you're seeing this Eagles team legit. Fantastic win against a feisty, competitive, nasty Giants team that got beat by the Denver Broncos in ugly fashion, and the Eagles completely kicked their asses. Your confidence level in this Eagles team going into the bye, scale it for me from 1 to 10. Let me know. As always, thanks for watching the show. Thanks for supporting Chip on the watch party. It was awesome to see, and we'll catch you soon. Peace.